Donnie Patrick will do the roll call, Kim Williams the Pledge of Allegiance, and Alan Steely the moment of silence.
Big crowd.
Roger Faulkner,
He ain't here.
Kim White,
Here.
Kim Williams. Here. Alan Steely,
Here.
Donnie Patrick.
Who is that?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Be seated.
In setting the final meeting agenda, Superintendent Housekeeper requests to add agenda item number 10, which is regarding revisions to the virtual learning handbook. We do not have special recognition, staff recognition, student recognition, or a special speaker for today's meeting.
That's good.
Relating to public matters, each person wishing to address the Board of Education may do so at this time. Next up, our superintendent comments.
So for today, I just wanted to kind of share with you guys we got a couple of things coming our way, but I wanted to share with you our goals for our Tier 1 instruction and our instructional plan for the upcoming year. And so Tier 1 instruction is your core foundation, what every kid in the district should be getting in every classroom. And so we've created a graphic, and actually I've already sent it out to our staff. Our admin team worked hard on this to just kind of come up with, we've got to change our thinking. We've got to change our thinking. Assessment is no longer going to look the same. It's more of a local accountability model, and it's basically preparing our students for working in the community, being a part of a community. And so we have 6 major focuses for every classroom in the building. And so we're going to be doing some district learning walks to look for these. The first one is vibrant learning, and when you all hear that, even at KSBA, if you hear it out in the community, it just means learning that matters to kids, things they're going to remember. If you think back to your favorite learning experience you ever had, it was probably a vibrant learning experience. I love to do an activity where people talk about their favorite, the best thing they've ever learned. And I had someone share from our staff about learning how to drive a tractor on Grandpa's farm. So we want to provide opportunities for our kids to experience things that they're going to remember. Discussion and discourse is a huge focus because we want kids talking to each other and collaborating about what they're learning. And then I really have pushed on our admin team to be able to, I really want them to provide written feedback to teachers in their evaluations. I'm working to provide written feedback to our district leaders. And then I also want that to transfer over into the classroom. Teachers giving kids written feedback that they can go back and reflect on to get better. And then high-level questioning and modeling, and then setting clear academic goals with each individual student. So in our professional growth plan this year, years ago, we had a student growth goal. Every teacher was required to have a student growth goal, and it was a state mandated formula and all of these things. Well, we got away from that. What I'm going to push for this year is that we go back to every teacher setting a student growth goal for their classroom environment, and then creating individual goals with kids. And whatever that goal is, it doesn't matter. If you're talking about a high school student, their goal might be to be accepted into West Point. But a kindergartner might be, by the end of the year, I want to be able to write my name by myself. Whatever those goals are, we want to make sure that they're unique to each individual kid. So this is what every classroom in our district should be focused on for the year. And so the only other thing I was going to share, and we can talk about it when we get to the action item, but you guys have, I'm sure you've seen the news, but Senate Bill 181 is a hot topic. And I've talked with our board attorney, he's on here with us right now too. One of the things we will need to discuss when we get to the action item is, are we as a district going to accept or approve a waiver opportunity? And one of the things that's coming at me all the time is, what do you do when the state defines parent? It does not define step parent. It doesn't include a step parent. Well, when you have a school employee that the child lives in their home, if you just read the definition and we just accept as is, it does not allow them to be able to communicate with their child. An example this morning brought to me was a counselor said, what do you expect me to do? He lives in my house. Can I not text him and say, hey, are you out of football practice? And so while I understand the significance of Senate Bill 181, I know the significance, but there are other consequences that I don't think were predicted. And some of those consequences are things like your mentor. I mean, we've worked hard at Williamsburg since I've been here to get mentors in place for all of our students that are positive role models. Well, Senate Bill 181 would not allow them to speak with them. And so the other issue has been how fast and furious. So we had to approve something by June 27th. That was the no time to get that set up. And I mean, our staff, most staff is not in the building, and definitely students haven't downloaded the app. So one of the biggest concerns right now is we don't want to break the law, but at the same time, I don't want kids having needs that we can't meet. And so after talking with Paul, when we get to that action item, Paul, I would love for you to weigh in unless you want to right now.
No,
We'll wait, okay. Okay, so that'll be our decision, is are we gonna have a waiver for Williamsburg where parents send written consent saying, yes, this person can pick up my child and talk to my child via their cell phone? Or no, we are not gonna have a waiver. That's gonna be a decision that we need to make. Now, you all have about 156 pages of policies, but that would be the one that is most critical right now, that we've gotta make sure that we have a definitive answer before they go public, okay? But that's my updates for today.
Do we have any staff comments?
Yeah, please.
So, as a parent of a student in the building who has a best friend and they're all starting to drive, so my son was involved in an accident with said best friend. Had he been incapable of calling me and the friend could have, it makes it very difficult for there not to be a waiver, especially whenever they stay at each other's houses all the time. The dad is also an employee works inside the district, who I would assume this may fall privy to as well. So on behalf of the teachers who have children in the building and who have friends, especially middle and high school, I do feel like a waiver's warranted, if that's just my opinion. But I would like it on record, but I believe I'm speaking for many of us, that it's important to be able to communicate. And then, I don't know if you saw it or not, there was something that came out on Senate Bill 181 about step parents, that they are viewing it as a parent now, so.
As long as it's written in our policy,
As long
that's
as it's
what
written,
Paul
yeah.
was saying.
So,
The other thing is, like, I want you just to kind of think about it. We have a close-knit community. How many times have you taken my daughter home, Dana?
several times.
Kayla just picked her up today. Shauna's taking her home. Carrie's taking them home. And so right now, it's not possible for them to communicate with her if she has a need. And I'm going to tell you, I live in a house with 3 of them who it makes them feel like they are cut off. Like Zayden is the president of FFA, and his FFA director can't message him to say, hey, you need to get this posted on our social media. And I mean, you talk about absolute frustration. And for Miss Kayla, she oversees 33 students who are Learn and Earn, and they're outsourced to community partners and working in the community. Now they feel like they can't contact her, which is why you'll see that we have another action item to approve a second platform that Learn and Earn has purchased for her kids specifically. But again, it's a learning curve, and it's just so fast that we haven't had a chance to make it feasible. No, but I mean, I don't even have the app yet. We're working on it. But it's one of those things that they gave us 0 time to plan for this.
Yeah. And I'll go back to, many years ago, whenever I was faced with the illness that I had to deal with. Listen, whenever they say it takes a village to raise your kids, Williamsburg was my village.
Yeah.
That's one of the many, I'm very loyal to Williamsburg, because as a student, I saw that. As an adult, I've seen that. And that is That's part of it. It takes a village, but there was lots of times, of course, my kids were little at that point, but had they been in middle school not driving, there would have been times I would have had to text Shauna or somebody else to get the ride if
Yeah.
I was unable to. So
Yeah.
that's just my 2 cents, but I do feel like I'm speaking for the masses as well, and it's been heard across Kentucky. But for us, I would love to see a waiver go into place so that we can have those communications.
Thank you, Dana.
In those policies, I will say this also, and I want to make sure you're clear without approving it, not knowing what you're approving. So one of the things that was shared with you, the first reading, was the whole telecommunication devices. So we've had an active policy in the district for as long as I've been here and years prior that stated that cellular phones are not allowed in the classroom during instruction unless instructed by a teacher to use in case of an emergency, okay? Well, that little clause right there allows it to be an abuse situation with a cell phone. You know, kids can use their cell phone better than they can use anything right now, and so if they need to fill out a Google form, when I meet with seniors, I'll say, hey, I sent you all an email for the Google form. Everybody, instead of pulling out their computer, they pull up their phone to do it. What has been a huge topic for 3 years since I've been superintendent is eliminating cellular phone usage in the classroom. While I see that it could be a benefit, what we're seeing right now is it is a huge detriment to engagement. And it becomes more of a babysitter or a distraction. So within the policies, we are accepting one of the policies with revisions, because what we would like to remove is students should not have their cellular phones in the classroom turned on any part of the school day. And the reason why is they would have them for emergencies and for after-school transportation, but they will not be allowed to have cell phones in the school turned on during the school day because they need to be engaged in learning. And there are many districts that are adopting the same thing and even providing consequences for teachers who don't follow that. I have not allowed our admin to go that far yet, but I think that we need to draw a line of no cell phones during the school day at all unless an emergency. But that will be something that will be communicated to the community, which will then bring people to you guys. So if that's something that when we get to action item 1 that you do not want to approve, make sure we discuss that.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Approval of the June board minutes, monthly financial report, treasurer's report, monthly expenditures, monthly balance sheet, fundraiser requests, in which we do not have any this month, surplus recycle list, first reading of the 25-26 employee handbook, first reading of the 25-26 student handbook and code of conduct, first reading of the revised attendance policy, and district funding assurances for the fiscal year 26. Are there any questions? I need a motion to approve these mentioned items.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Okay, we'll move on to the action agenda. Number 1, approval of the revised KSBA board policies for the 25-26 school year. Are there any questions? All right, Superintendent Housekeeper recommends the board approve the revised.
Kim, wait just a minute. I don't even know how to question it. Okay, so we're saying that within the classroom, a teacher cannot instruct students to look up whatever with their personal cell phone.
Correct. We're saying no cellular, what we are asking for approval is that there's no cellular phones in the classroom during instruction time. And that has been in the board policy in previous years. However, with that one little line in there that says, unless instructed by a teacher, that has given them freedom to use it whenever. What we don't want,
Well, that's giving them freedom to use it whenever because our staff is not implementing the policy.
so we would like to remove that there are no cellular phones during instruction during the school day.
It makes it easier to enforce.
It does, and that is what has been recommended all 3 years that I've been superintendent. But this is the first time that it's been one of the revisions suggested by KSBA. And you'll see it written in our student handbook draft. So, you know, if you would like to table that one and approve everyone except that one until you have time to read it and digest it, that's okay. We can put that back on the board agenda for August. It's up to you. My personal belief is that it is a distraction to what is happening in the classroom, but also it's when we have a substitute in the classroom. I don't want it to be a babysitter. It can go south very, very fast. And so I think it's not what's best for students. And now I've experienced my son being at Governor Scholar for 5 weeks without his cell phone, and, except for nights. And guess what? It's been the best and healthiest thing for him. And so I feel like, you know, while I want to hold teachers accountable, this is the only way to make sure that it's just a blanket statement. Because your expectation of them getting it out and needing it might be different than the person next door, you know?
Okay, so have we addressed the consequences of?
In the student handbook draft, it has it listed from our school administrators. They've listed those. So I really want you all to take a look at the student handbook, and whatever revisions you suggest, let's make those happen.
Well, I'd say, that we need to revisit it
Okay.
after implementation, just to see, you know,
If it's working.
if it's working.
So do you want to table it, or do you
No.
want it to be
No.
approved in the bulk?
No, we don't
No, I
want
wouldn't
to, I
have
don't
had-
want to
Okay.
table it. I'm just saying, I think we need to revisit it.
Okay,
Hold on, I have to go ahead and vote on it.
I mean, I don't want to specify a time, but
Okay.
I think we need an administrator to report to us
how it's working.
how's this going.
Okay, I like that.
I think that's part of the thing.
Okay, so then the other decision is, we basically have two options in these in this action item. And so I'm gonna let Paul talk about the waiver real quick and give
Talk
his
loud,
recommendation. I'll turn him up.
Glad he's alive.
There we
Tried
go.
to reach him for a month and he won't reply. Is this a AI Paul or a real Paul?
This is real Paul.
Okay, I thought maybe he'd been reinvented.
So my understanding is the Senate Bill 181 requires to have policies and procedures in place or to use of the technology and to implement a traceable communications system or platform. I agree with Mrs. Housekeeper. It's become very problematic, and that they have given us a pretty detailed rubric to follow, and given us really no time or direction on what traceable communication systems or platforms that we could use. No real opportunity to test these platforms, see what alternatives there are out there, and we're going to have to bite the bullet and jump into it, because it's a very, very hot topic right now. It's just being debated all over. But from what I understand, there is a provision in the bill which creates a waiver or an exemption which would allow would allow parents to opt out of the provision, and would enable staff from the school system to communicate directly with children. And that is what we're I guess debating now, is whether to obviously we're going to have to implement the system and follow that, or do we put in place our own policy and procedure to further restrict that, to not include that waiver? that was a big, long sentence, but, do we adopt the, Senate Bill 181 as is, or, which includes the waiver provision and the opt-out, or
We gotta
do
opt
we
out, don't we?
further restrict it through our own policies and procedures? So, Ms. Housekeeper touched on that as to the waiver and Ms. Hale spoke to it in the staff address section. Personally, I think that the waiver creates too much room for abuse. It creates too much subjectivity. It's going to be hard to track which staff or teachers and which students are able to communicate together. Personally, I feel that we should just jump into it, both feet, with both feet, use an approved traceable communications tracking system across the board, and then revisit it in a year from now. I mean, I think we need to force everyone to use the system
Okay.
and, evaluate whether or not we need to further modify it.
Okay, so the first question is basically, do we want to adopt as is, means that it includes the waiver. If the second option is adopt with modifications, which would eliminate the waiver. Okay, so Paul's suggestion is that we eliminate the waiver option. So now that I've got 2 or 3 clarifying situations, okay? So, because my staff will want this answer, and so will parents. If a volunteer or a staff member is on a current student's pickup list, we collect their student, their driver's license, photo ID, we put them in our system. Are they allowed to, because this would make us amend our policy, if we amend our policy to have step parents or guardians, what about the pickup list?
I think you could amend the policy to include the pickup list.
Okay? If they're on the approved
And-
pickup list in our Kentucky Student Information System with a copy of the driver's license.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then we will go ahead, am I hearing this right, that we're also saying that we need to amend the policy to include, you gave me words earlier on the phone, for guardians. That,
For guardians, a lot of situations we have grandparents who may be guardians of children.
Okay.
I mean, rather than, it could be an aunt, grandparent, an extended family member. As long as they're a legal guardian, and you could require them to produce court documentation, then that would qualify, I think.
okay, and for step parents, if they live in the home with their step parent, then what is your suggestion for that? They may not have legal guardianship because the other parent is still in their lives as a legal guardian and have, parental rights to them. What about that step parent? Are they allowed to communicate?
I think we could include the word
Okay.
step parents, parents to include step parents.
Okay, I like that. So that is Paul's suggestion. So now, no, go ahead. Come to the mic so Paul can hear you. So Dana is gonna ask a question.
But, okay, I may address Dana's question before she asks it. I also think that we need to consider putting something in the policy and procedure which would sort of exempt staff members from communicating with their own children.
Yeah,
Well, my question was, we do POAs, So.
Power of attorney?
Power of attorneys for different parents. I've been a POA myself, as well as I'm sure several others have been as well. So would that enable us under this code to be able to communicate with students? So if I take a child with me on vacation and I get a POA signed for educational medical decision, which is issued by KDE, so it's through Kentucky Department of Ed, that gives me those rights. Does that mean we can communicate with them? Because, we do sometimes take children on vacation, as do others.
You could include that in your list of approved people, or those with a valid, executed power of attorney.
Okay, so here's what I am gonna say, if, all those other policies, and we've talked about them, I've met with each one of you individually to see if there's any questions, things like that. So if there are others that you wanna discuss, then we can do that, but if not, then can we say that the action item is to include, do you want me to revisit Senate Bill 181 once we amend the policy, bring that policy back to the table in the August meeting? Or do we want to go ahead and approve and I'll have Paul review these revisions?
I think bringing it back.
Bring it back so that we can make sure. Okay. And it may be, we could have a special call in late July if we really want this in place so we can communicate with families. Okay, so then in the minutes, we need to put,
Table.
we'll make sure that we will table the one policy, and then I can, if you approve all the others, then I can write it up that way. We approve all of the proposed policies with the exception of Senate Bill 181 that will be revisited in a future meeting. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I need a motion to approve this action item.
Number one.
Yes, on number one.
Do you want to do it now? Well, you can bring it up. You can bring it up. Oh, no.
What's the date?
It's the internet.
Yeah, it's messed up. No, it was messed up yesterday.
Because there's one more policy. Do you want to, before you all approve, I think she wants to talk about one other policy.
Well, I want to know, where we stand on this, the human sexuality policy.
And let's wait till we get Paul
And
back up here.
guidance on, with Paul on that. Just so that so that the community knows whatever we're trying to implement.
So what are we looking at now?
So based on Paul's suggestions, what I think I will do next board meeting, is I will have a side-by-side policy for you guys. These are the ones that are with the revisions that Paul is suggesting. This is the one that the state is suggesting, and you all will have the option to choose. I don't know where Paul's at.
I think if we go with the exemptions, then it's probably more workable in this community on a daily basis as far
Yes.
as implementation.
Oh, man. Hey, Donna, are you getting kicked off?
Mine was messed up yesterday at home.
FaceTime.
Why don't you, could you do that?
I just want to know his opinion on it. Have y'all discussed it?
He was looking through them all today, but I want him to hear your question.
I don't really, I just want to know what we're doing.
Okay. If I can get this to open.
And I don't know the number of it or any of that. I don't have everything.
I will find that for us right now. Hey, Paul, we got kicked off, but we do have another, before we approve action item 1, Ms. Williams has a question about the human sexuality, the sextortion policy, and so, I'll give you those page numbers, but I'll let her ask you first.
I don't know if I really have a question, Paul, as much as, are we covered on that one? She's gonna look up the number for you in just a second. I don't have that information in front of me.
It should be, the policy number is 08.13531, and it looks like it's about on page, well, I don't know because our internet's not working, so it won't give me page numbers. It's about the third policy down. And so what they've added is in this policy, so a couple years back, we were instructed to remove any kind of instructional resource or book or related material that would create or teach gender identity and would show gender physiology of males and females. So what I'm assuming, and this is my interpretation, so if you interpret it differently, Paul, let me know. What they're proposing is that we add on the second page there, this shall not prohibit school personnel from A, discussing human sexuality, including the sexuality of any historic person, group, or public figure, where the discussion provides necessary context in relation to a topic of instruction from a curriculum approved pursuant to KRS. And then the additional 2 are B, providing age-appropriate instruction on child sexual abuse through curriculum or programs in accordance with the standards set forth by the National Children's Alliance and approved by the Children's Advocacy Centers of Kentucky, regardless of grade level, or responding to a question from a student during class regarding human sexuality as it relates to a topic of instruction from a curriculum approved by the KRS. So in my perception is that kind of prompts action for school districts, meaning that now we do include that discussion in curriculum if it's in our Kentucky academic standards, using an approved curriculum. It's no longer a passive what to do if it's brought up to you. It's more of you are instructing them with curriculum approved from the KRS. Is that your understanding?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the way I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions about that?
And then it also, I believe, goes ahead and says that it would have to be stated on the website. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so there are several things in these new policies that are required for our website,
Yep.
okay? So after these are approved and after our working budget is approved, our working school fiscal year budget will have to be accessible on the internet, on the website. The other thing is that we will have to have our program of studies accessible to all community members, all families, all children, all staff on our website. And within that program of studies includes the Kentucky Academic Standards, which may include human sexuality standards, and that will be built into our program of studies that for whatever grade level that shows up in. So I don't think it's anything that is going to prompt major changes. It's just now it gives educators the permission to teach health and to teach the things that probably we all learned.
Right, and I just want a clarification that Paul guided us on that. Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
Is that good?
Appreciate that.
That's good.
Okay.
Does
Alright.
this vote take care of the 3?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Superintendent Housekeeper recommends the board approve the revised KSBA board policies according to the recommendation of KSBA and the district leadership team for the 25-26 school year, with the exception of policy relating to Senate Bill 181 that we will revisit next month.
Yeah.
Is that fine?
Yep, perfect.
Are there any additional questions?
This was a lot of changes this time.
I need a motion to approve this action item.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. Okay, the motion is approved. Okay, so that takes care of 2 and 3. Right, We have to
3, we
vote
need
on
to talk
that.
about 3.
Okay. okay.
And I'll
Is
let
that
Donna
2
and
and
Grant,
2?
why don't you guys come and
That is
share
2
the
also.
change in the acceptable use policy?
So what's, never mind. Oh, one student, one student.
We didn't have it in front of us right now, but we reworked the entire thing to just make it more clear on there what we're approving and disproving, to make it like, this is, the simple is what we're requiring, and here's a link to the handbook for the exact thing. So that way, when they're reading it, a lot of them aren't gonna read word for word what it is, but they can see the general outline. This is what you're agreeing to in layman's terms.
That's for staff and student both.
Yes, so
And
3
we've
and
added
4
some
is
things
staff and
for
students.
Google, because Google requires some additional requirements for using YouTube and Classroom and a bunch of stuff. So we just put it in there that we do use Google
In AI.
and AI. We have AI in the policy too. So,
And so 3 is for the new AUP form, which you guys had ahead of time for students. And then there's 1 also for staff. And so before they access any technology in the district, they have to sign this and agree to these terms before they are given access to the network of any kind, in any way.
Any questions? Thank you all. Alright. Approval of the revised acceptable use policy and required form for WISD students for the 25 and 26 school year. I need a motion to approve this item.
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Then number 4 is the approval of the revised acceptable use policy and required form for WISD staff for the 25-26 school year. I need a motion to approve this action item.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Move on to number 5, approval of an additional traceable communication system, Modern Campus, for students participating in the Learn and Earn program.
You all have questions about that? It would not be accessible to all of our students, just the ones who, and Kayla, it really just goes through the summer, doesn't it? The Learn and Earn modern system. And it's for students who are working in the community, like Corbin Vet and so on, to be able to communicate with their,
It would be me and, Mr. Cisse, who's over the Learn and Earn program, are the only people who would actually use it. We wouldn't use it with the community.
okay.
Okay. Any questions? All right, I need a motion to approve this action item.
Motion. Second.
There's a second, okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Number 6, approval of the therapy services agreement with Cody Hoskins. Are there any questions? Okay, Superintendent Housekeeper recommends the board approve the therapy services agreement with Cody Hoskins. I need-
Motion.
Need a motion, second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Approval of the memorandum of agreement for Stephen Clark to help close out the 24-25 fiscal year. Are there any questions?
Not if they don't have questions. I think we've talked to all of them. Yeah.
We're
Okay.
good, aren't we?
All right. I need a motion to approve this
Motion.
action.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Okay. Approval of the occupational therapy services agreement with Ashley Crowley. Are there any questions? Okay. I need a motion to approve this action item.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Number 9, approval of a $50 stipend to supplement monthly cellular services for the superintendent and head principal for the 25-26 school year. Are there any questions? I need a motion to approve this item.
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, like sign? The motion is approved. Okay. Our one addition to the agenda, number 10, approve revisions to the 25-26 virtual learning handbook.
And I can tell you what those are. So last year, we went ahead and we created our Jacket Academy handbook. And this year, what we noticed is, first year having a handbook, you realize you leave some things out. So Brian Berta has suggested that we put it back in front of you just to approve the one change of now there are options for students with specific learning criteria that we will meet in different ways. Also, this addition is essential to ensure that the district has clear, consistent, and equitable guidelines for addressing student behavior and academic concerns that may warrant an alternate placement. So if you look at the board policy and the state, any type of alternative credit option can also be used you can use a virtual learning platform for a student to earn high school credit. And a lot of times we think of alternative setting as a behavior situation. That's not always true. If you have a student who has a critical illness, or a student who has surgery, or a student who is pregnant, those are all reasons that they might need an alternate setting. And in our current handbook, or last year's handbook, it did not have that as an approved option. And so he is proposing to the board that we add those additional few words to the handbook.
Are there any questions? All right, I need a motion to approve this action item.
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, like sign. And the motion is carried. Next up, we will have an update from our finance officer, Dalton Sizemore.
Yay.
So there's not much tax-wise to update, but I will give you final numbers as it relates to last tax year. At the end of June, we ended this year 9 bills more than where we fell last year, totaling a difference of $202,539.28 more that we brought in this year as compared to last year. And then we ended our collection percentage at 86.79 as of June 30th, which is 3.03% higher than we were this moment last year. We didn't take any taxes for the month of June. It's been pretty slow, but last year we did take in 6 taxes for about $1,800. And then as far as a financial update, Stephen Clark, I actually had him down here this week. He used to be a KDE field rep, closing out districts across the state and getting their year closed and rolled over. So he's had decades of experience doing it. He was able to sit with us on Monday. I believe we worked about 14 hours, got everything cleaned up on the balance sheet. Everything was looking good. And then he came back in on Tuesday and we ran some tests with the AFR and was able to get that passed through with no errors. So our unaudited annual financial report has been sent to KDE with no errors. So our next task is to collectively sit down and get our tax rate lined out. I believe we have about 30 days to get that in since I submitted that on Tuesday. Any questions?
Thank you for your hard work on that and long hours.
Yeah, this week I thought was Friday. Today was Friday. And my wife was like, no, we have a baby doctor's appointment to go to, so get home. And I was like, oh, you're right. So now I got to drive to Lexington after this.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we'll have our staffing update from our HR director, Carrie Hamlin.
Not many hires this time. We have Miss Hannah Flora, who is our new middle school math teacher. John Harris is our middle school English teacher, and Elizabeth LaValle, which is going to be a part-time bus driver. We have one resignation, which is Anthony Hibbard as high school social studies teacher, and we still have one on FMLA, which is Miss Cassie Hudson.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments? I'll need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All, anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved and the meeting is adjourned. We want to thank everyone for coming and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.